check, mic.
Thank you so much, Bill, and thank you, Jerry. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Orange County. How you doing today? So we're going to just throw this out there once again. If you guys want to consider squishing into the center, it'll help kind of make us feel a little bit more cozy. Don't have to, not a requirement. If you feel more comfortable being isolated, I completely understand. I'm just saying. But if you guys would like to do that, it'll help fill the space a little bit more. All right, guys, we are going to get things going, as we do, by some singing, because that helps raise our vibration. And if we raise our vibration, we raise the vibration around us. We're able to receive better things through that vibration. So please rise, and let us sing together, I release and I let go. There was a time in my life I thought I'd have to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go. Let it all go, and this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. side. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Very nice, everybody. You sound wonderful today. Please be seated. I would like to welcome Tina to the platform. Yay, Tina!
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, everybody. Good morning. How's everyone today? Great. It's so nice to see your shining faces today. And if you're watching us on YouTube, thanks for tuning in. We always like to start our service by affirming our prayer for our church and our vision and mission statements. So now you know when we say our prayers, we say it like we mean it. Right. Okay. Together, we pray, believe, and continued growth and prosperity for unity of Orange County, with an abundance to spare and share. With grateful hearts, we give thanks for answered prayer. And so it is. Amen. And our vision statement: centered in divine love, we joyfully co-create a world that works for all. And our mission statement: to awaken, inspire, and transform lives. Absolutely. And one way that we like to transform lives, transform our morning, is by thanking those that helped make this morning possible. And our music team is our favorite people to really get us started. And we have Bill on keyboard and Jerry on drums. We have Tom on vocals, and we have Mark on camera today. Waverly and John are streaming. Our wonderful greeters today, we had Cindy and Carla. Thank you so much. And Mary, who isn't here, but she did drop off our hospitality, and we so appreciate her doing that. She has a very, very busy, challenging days, and so for her to do that is just so much love coming from her. So we appreciate that. Stephanie stepped in last minute. 6 o'clock this morning, she found out that she was going to be reading the daily word and doing our meditation. Thank you, Stephanie, for doing that. We so appreciate you very much. And our wonderful speaker today is Reverend Annie. Thank you, Reverend Annie. I know you two have a very busy schedule. I see you're speaking all over the place, and so we thank you for being here today. We do have a few announcements. So first of all, as you may know, or maybe you don't know, Reverend Charlie Tupper, who is our Minister of Record, or MOR, as we call, she will be here June the 2nd through the 4th. And during that time, we will have some workshops. And Saturday, June the 2nd, 3rd, sorry, you are right, June the 3rd, we are going to have a workshop here, and it will be for us to break out in small circles so that we can discuss what is going on now. So it is presencing in times of change. So that'll be Saturday, June the 3rd from 9:30 to 2:30. And lunch will be provided. And so please sign up at the table or by emailing Reverend Charlie at revctupper316@gmail.com. And this workshop is an in-person only workshop. So please come. This is your time to sit and chat and what is going on with you mentally, emotionally, about the changes that we are going through. Also, we have a workshop that will start on Wednesdays from 6:30 to 9, starting June the 7th, and it is Living the Kingdom of Heaven, a prosperity adventure in oneness. And this is going to be on Zoom, and Reverend Charlie is going to be facilitating this. It is a 7-week Zoom online class, and it will awaken dormant truths within you that will manifest and demonstrate genuine prosperity. And this is a class that is designed to transform your understanding of who you are and the spiritual potential that lies within. If there is any area of your life that you think is lacking, this class is for you. Our master teacher Jesus taught, "As you give, so shall you receive." Therefore, in gratitude for all that we receive, participants will make a commitment to give of their time, talent, and treasure to Unity of Orange County. So this is a really awesome opportunity for us. And that again starts June the 7th, which is Wednesdays from 6:30 to 8, and it is a 7-week course. So again, register and pick up the flyers here in the corner where we have our table. After the service today, I think Stephanie is selling 50/50 raffles, I hope. And so at the end of each month, we will pull out a raffle ticket, and the winner will get half the money collected. The men's group meets on Zoom the first and third Thursdays of each month, and their next meeting will be, or was, May the 18th, if that is true. Is that true, George? Very good. Gentlemen, see George sitting in the back.
It says June 1st.
Oh, June 1st? All right. Okay. June 1st. Awesome. And see George in the back if you have any questions. This is a wonderful opportunity for the gentlemen to get together and talk, just like the women do. And believe it or not, we don't have a women's group, and why is that? We will. We're working on it, actually. The person, Annette, I believe, is going to try to maybe spearhead that. Very good. So look for that in the future. Okay. Prayer group meets on Zoom the first Monday of each month, and their next meeting is June the 5th from 6:30 to 8. And a full listing of all our upcoming activities, please go to our website at unityoforangecounty.org and look at the calendar. And that's all for me. Thank you.
Change is scary, right? Unless you've been through it before. I mean, I've been through this church meeting in a mortuary, so I think we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine, guys. I do want to encourage the class that is happening. We did this process before Arlene came as well, and it was wonderful to see who showed up, and it was wonderful to see what we started to create for a vision for the new church, which is what led us to having Arlene for 8 years. So we really need to think about the future when we come together for that meeting, and what do we want next? You know, what's the energy we want to create next? So. All right, we are talking about seeking and spending spiritual currency today. And I'm not going to go too far into what that means because I am definitely going to get it wrong. But I wanted to do some songs today. We talked a little bit briefly about a song about searching and then a song about finding. So I have the two songs that I've got today are very much that. The first song may not be something you guys think of as being a spiritual song, but the song is Rainbow Connection. And what is the Rainbow Connection? Aha, exactly. Rainbow Connection is what binds all of us. And what binds all of us is this shared sense of life and community and consciousness and all that. That's spirituality to me. So this is a song about searching for spirituality. Why are there so many songs about rainbows and what's on the other side? Rainbows are visions, but only illusions, and rainbows have nothing to hide. So you've been told, and some choose to believe it, but I know they're wrong. Wait and see. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Who said that every wish would be heard and answered when wished on a morning star? Somebody thought of that, and someone believed it. Look what it's done so far. What's so amazing that keeps us stargazing? And what do we think we might see? Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. All of us under its spell. They probably heard that it's magic. Have you been half asleep, and have you heard voices? I hear them calling my name. Is this the sweet sound that calls the young sailors? I think they are one and the same. I've heard it too many times to ignore it. It's something that I'm supposed to be. Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. La da 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 dum, la da 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 do. Thank you guys so much. Now, when you hear that song, I hope you think about it a little differently. Yeah, especially at the beginning of the Muppet movie when Kermit sings it. They knew what they were doing, believe me. Well, guys, it is time to get ready for our daily word and meditation, so we're going to slow things down a little bit. Get mentally prepared. Get comfortable in your chairs, feet flat on the floor if that's okay for your body. And we're going to start getting ready by singing together, affirming together, blessing to the world. The first one is for you, so listen and sing. Here we go. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and who you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. Having heard that, take it inside for yourself. Know the I am. Here we go. I am the heart, I am the hands, I am the voice of spirit on earth, and who I am, and all I do is a blessing to the world. Now expand to include everyone. We are, and sing out. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world, a blessing to the world. I'd like to invite Stephanie to the platform.
Doing great. The Rainbow Connection was a song that was sung at our wedding almost 42 years ago. I love that song. It's one of my favorites. It's one of our favorites. Good morning. Today's daily word is protection. As I practice the presence of God, I feel secure. This is Sunday, May 21st, 2023. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God. Omnipotence, omniscient, omnipresence. It is not only all around me, God is within me. As I take this truth into my heart, I feel calm and secure. The circumstances of the world no longer have lasting power over me. God is greater and more enduring than anything I may be called to face. I have within me the power to feel God's protecting presence at any time. As I pray, I affirm the strength and power of God are mine to call upon. I can use these divine powers to move beyond that which may scare or intimidate me. In renewed faith and deep security, I move bravely forward. The Bible verse today is from 1 John 4:4. The one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world. Let's take just a breath to hold that in. Breathe it into you. And we're going to call the prayer box forward and sing our thoughts, our prayers.
Our thoughts are prayers, and we are always praying. Our thoughts are prayers. Listen to what you're saying. Seek a higher consciousness, a state of peacefulness, and know that God is always there. And every thought becomes a prayer.
I love that last line. Every thought becomes a prayer. We bless these prayers that are in the box and that are in your hearts today. We know that God hears these prayers before we even pray them. And they are answered. There is no prayer that is not answered. So we give thanks, knowing that all that is prayed for is answered. And we send these off into the universe with incredible gratitude. Amen. If we could just take a little bit of a moment or two and extend the idea of protection. When I was pregnant with Matthew, which was some time ago now, I came up with an affirmation because I was pregnant for the first time and it was scary. And I was worried about everything because I was a very first-time mom, and that was my way of doing things, is to worry. And so I came up with the idea that God was with me all the time, and so this was my affirmation. I said, I am safe and surrounded by love. And I sang that to myself all the time. So today, let's extend that. Let's expand it. Let me invite you to put your feet flat on the floor. Know that you're connecting with the earth star of you. You're connecting all the way down to all the ancestors that have come before you. You are supported not only by God's love, but the love of everybody who's come before you, giving you strength and support. And take a deep breath. Fill your lungs with God's breath. Every breath you take is God breathing you, in you and through you. Breathe in and think to yourself, I am safe. I am surrounded by love. And as you do that, imagine yourself surrounded by golden pink light coming down from above and showering you with warmth and protection. I am safe and surrounded by love. Imagine there's an angel behind you with angel's wings surrounding you. Huge, beautiful wings. My guardian angel has blue wings. And those wings come around me and bathe me in warmth and love and protect me. You have an angel too. See that angel standing behind you, supporting you in the golden pink light that shines down from the heavens. Breathe in. I am safe and surrounded by love. In the silence, repeat this to yourself and feel the security and protection of God's love surrounding you with every breath you take. Take a deep breath and gently come back into this place. You don't have to release the light. It can stay around you. You don't have to release the angel. Your angel's there all the time. You can stay conscious of him or her all the time if you want. You are never alone. And you may have my affirmation anytime you want it. I am safe and surrounded by love. In Jesus' name, and all the angels, and all the wise men, and all the avatars, and all the guides, we say Amen, Aho, and so it is.
That was amazing. Beautiful. Wow. Well, good morning. We have just had church. The music was just amazing. Stephanie, thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful meditation. I'm bringing my angel with me, so I've got her right here. One of the things I really enjoyed while I was sitting back there listening and singing the song, it occurred to me when we were singing, every thought becomes a prayer. In my case, every thought becomes a sermon title. And I don't know how to turn it off. So I have all these thoughts that come up, and I had this thought. One morning I was doing my meditation, not even thinking about anything else except for the quietness and the peacefulness of my own soul. And this phrase came to me, the cost of living. And I just brushed it off, and then it came up again, and I brushed it off again. So I thought, okay, I will talk about the cost of living. And so I did what I usually do with my sermon talks, and this one took a turn. It took a turn which I didn't expect. And I'm going to share with you how it took the turn, and not in a bad way, but in a good way, in a healing way, in a revealing way. And so at first I had to determine that I was committed to the cost of living. So I am committed to this talk title, A Cost of Living. So what I had to do, and I would like for you to consider, actually, what is your definition of living? So there. So then I asked myself, what is my definition of living? Not just existing, because I had a working definition, but it wasn't playing out the way I wanted it to play out. So I went into prayer and meditation, and I did my research on what it means to actually live. And some of the definitions I discovered that I really liked, living is to be alive, to have life, to experience life, to pursue a lifestyle, to create, to be creative, to thrive, to love, to experience. And these attributes just kept pouring into my consciousness. And I just thought, wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. And so as the talk unfolded, then I started looking at what it actually costs. What is the price that we pay to have this life, to have this experience? What is the cost? Now, I know what it costs for a dozen eggs. I know what it costs for a gallon of gas. I have to fuel my car, so I know there's a sign that tells me what the cost of fuel for my vehicle. When I go to the grocery store, there's a sign that tells me what is the price of eggs, a carton of milk. So all of these things have a cost. And we pay the price for that, whether we know it or not, whether we pay with our finances through our wallet or whether we pay with our soul. There is a price, and everything has a price. I don't care what anyone tells you, everything has a price. Even free has a price. I see people nodding their head, so you know what I'm talking about. So we know what these prices are on the outer world, but there are some hidden costs. Some hidden costs that some of us refer to them as the fine print. You know, when you sign all these documents, when you buy a house or something, there are all these fine prints, and you don't know what's in the document until the stuff hits the fan. And then you went, oh, wow. So oftentimes we will pay the price for not reading the fine print. Oftentimes, we pay the price for being ignorant to the law, which is not a bad thing. It is what it is. There's a cost associated with that. And if we're not careful, these costs, these hidden, invisible costs, they will start to mount up and mount up and mount up. And I'm speaking from my own experience. Before we realized what's happening is we have these experiences, and we wonder, well, where did that come from? I didn't have this yesterday. Well, yeah, you did have it yesterday. It was that invisible cost that we weren't paying attention to. And I'm saying we because I'm owning this. This is my process. I was not paying attention. And it's not that I didn't know spiritual principles, because I did. I'd been trained in New Thought movement with this philosophy that's just really amazing. And yet, I got caught. I got caught. Some of those invisible costs caught up with me. So about maybe many years ago, over 30 years ago, I was busy with my life. I was living. And I got sick. I got literally physically sick, and I was in a lot of pain, and the medical people couldn't figure it out what it was. They would throw out stuff, well, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. So finally, I was given a medical diagnosis, and this diagnosis was called, it's an old diagnosis, and it was called the suicide disease. And it was called the suicide disease or diagnosis because the pain was so intense, and it was just so intense that there was no relief. So people with this diagnosis just committed suicide because there was no relief. And so once I got the diagnosis and I was given a prognosis and what my treatment options were, I listened to what my treatment options were. And one of the treatment options was to have brain surgery, to go into my brain and tie off some nerves and do a whole bunch of other stuff so that I could be pain-free temporarily. So this was not a permanent fix. It was a temporary fix. And so there were some other options: to be highly medicated forever and ever, have this surgery that was not a cure. As a matter of fact, the risk of having this surgery ended up being something like I could have, because they were going into my brain to do brain surgery, I could have nerve damage, I could have one side of my face paralyzed. Just it goes on, and all these neurological deficits that were associated with treatment for this disease, for this condition. Another option was to have radiation to my brain. Again, the same thing. All of the after effects of these different treatment options were presented to me. And then there was another option to do nothing except for live in constant pain. Well, I decided that I wanted to live. And so again, this is my story. When you're seeking medical, when you're working with your medical team, you have to make your decisions yourself. My decision came with a lot of prayer, a lot of meditation, just a lot of spiritual searching. So I decided that I wanted, I didn't like the treatment options. And there had been people in this movement that have healed themselves from different conditions. The name that comes to my mind right now is Myrtle Fillmore. She healed herself over a 2-year period of time. Well, I didn't want to wait 2 years. I wanted my healing now, because this was serious. This was a big deal. And I wanted my healing now. I wanted a quick fix. I didn't realize the cost associated with this quick fix. I ended up not doing the quick fix. I ended up taking the long way around, and I'm still traveling this road. And as I'm traveling this road to healing, I encountered some huge obstacles on the road as I traveled. I was committed to my healing. I was committed to doing everything that I could in order that I might have this experience of living, because I wanted to live. I wanted to live life. I had enough youth left. I wanted to travel. I wanted to do everything, but I couldn't because I had this big boulder in my life. It was like a big boulder in my living room that I walked around all the time. So everything in my life involved walking around this obstacle to my healing. Whenever I went any place, there were these obstacles. So I learned to live with the obstacles, not knowing what the cost I was paying to live with these obstacles. So I continued my spiritual journey, and one of the things that I looked at were the obstacles that I was facing, or the obstacles that stood in the way of my healing. This boulder was full of obstacles that were in my way, and I didn't know. I did not know. Well, I probably did, but on a deeper level, I probably did. And I say I probably did because I worked my way through it. I worked through it. And so the biggest obstacle, and you might find this to be true for yourself as well, the biggest obstacle that I found was my identity, how I identified myself. And I realized that I had developed a strong identity to being sick. I had this process had such a strong hold on me that I didn't realize that it was an obstacle. I didn't realize it was an attachment. And so I was attached to the story. And I told that story. Everybody knew about this story. My coworkers knew about my story. My family knew about my story. My prayer partner knew about my story. My church people, everybody knew about my story. And every time someone would say, "Oh, Annie, how are you doing?" I would just pour on my story. And the pity that I received made me feel so loved. They just loved me because, "Oh, you poor Annie. I'm so sorry you're going through this." And I'm soaking this all in. And the cost is mounting up because I'm still identifying with this sick person. I'm identifying with this disease. And I'm walking around, this big old disease is right here in my face, in my living room, every place around. I couldn't do anything because I had to think about this condition. It took over my life. And so I had to stop telling the story. And that was one of the biggest obstacles that I have ever encountered, is my identity with a sick person. I had no identity with a well person. I knew about wellness. I was a healthcare provider, so I knew what health was. I knew what healing was. But I wasn't living the life of a healthy person. And so something had to change. Otherwise, those costs were going to continue to mount up and mount up and mount up, and I will never get rid of this boulder that's in my living room. So I did not like the idea of walking around, living the rest of my life with this big old problem right here in the living room. It wasn't just in the living room. It was in my car. It was in my office. It was everywhere. And it was just like I'm carrying it with me, because I had made comfort with it. It was very comfortable. And it was hard. And it continues to cause me to think, to take a look at my action and take a look at what I'm actually accruing costs for. I realized the cost of my healing had to do with my identity with who I am. Now, I knew I had been taught these spiritual principles like I am one with God and God's all of his love and healing power. I had all these wonderful affirmations, but they were at the surface. They were at the surface, not collecting any dividends, not collecting any interest, just right there on the surface, ready for me to sprout off. And I could no longer do that. And one day I had taken workshop training to be a life coach with the Louise Hay group. And I said to the group, I'd gone through the training, did everything. It had all the stuff on how to get clients and how to do this and how to do this. And one day, that voice said, "No, you can't do this. That's fraud. You cannot pretend to help people to heal their life when this big old boulder right here, your life is nowhere near." I wasn't even on the path to healing. And yet here I am, ready to go out into the world and teach people how to heal their own life, and I didn't have my own healing. So I began to work on myself. So what helped me with this awareness was my spiritual practices. I'm telling you, church, spiritual practices are not a one and done. It is, in my experience, it is a lifelong journey. And I am not willing to give it up because I have a taste, a big gulp of what healing is, what living is, what life is. And I wake up every day grateful and thankful. The boulder is practically gone. I can live my life. I have a whole new perspective on life. As a matter of fact, I'm not even on my third act. Where's Diane? I'm not on my third act. I'm on my fifth act because it's good. And I don't want to tell you that it's easy because it's not. When we were born into the world, it was easy. but, our conditioning and stuff just covered up the truth of who we are. So we have to chisel away at all of the grit and the grime and all of the other stuff that has been packed, that we carry with us all the time, and chipping away at it a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. And when I reached the 2-year mark and I still wasn't healed, I had some doubts about Myrtle Fillmore's story. I was like, yeah, was she really healed? But she stuck with it. And so here I am. And some of the things, and I want to share with you what got me to the other side, what helped me after realizing the obstacles that I faced. And once I decided to stop telling the story, and I tell you, there are some traps, even when I stopped telling the story, because I had all these identities that people knew me as, even my name. My name, I'd say, hi, I'm Annie. Oh, little orphan Annie. So that these little, and I'm saying these little hidden costs. And so I would embrace that. Little orphan Annie, oh yeah, no wonder I'm sick. Look at little orphan Annie. Yeah. And every time I did that, I took 2 steps back. And I had to do that again. So there's a method to all of my madness. When I walk in and the greeters give me a name, it's not Annie. And it's not Annie. Some days I wake up, I feel like Joy. Some days I feel like me. Some days I feel like whatever it is. That's my word for today. And what that's actually doing is helping you as well. Because when you write my name as love and joy, you are not seeing Annie. So that's helping me. That's helping to cut the cord with that story. So how many times do we grab these stories and not realize what's involved? It never occurred to me to do the unpacking of this story. And as I unpacked it, more and more was being revealed to me. I was just so grateful I've been in this movement for almost 40 years. So I know about the spiritual principles. I was trained in them. I went through 3.5 years of school of ministry. I went through 2 years I did the whole thing. And then I went back and got I've got a degree for everything. Anything that I need to navigate on the outside world, I've got a degree for it. And it serves me well. But unbeknownst to me, what I have on the inside of me is a blueprint. Inside of me is a blueprint of health. It's a blueprint for wellness. It's that pattern of perfection that I was born into, that I was born with. And it is that pattern of perfection in which I am healing into now. And some of the ways that keep me on this path of healing is, the daily prayers. Every day of my life is started with prayer. I grew up in the religious science of mind movement where we were taught affirmative prayer, where we prayed in the affirmative, not in the negative. I was trained to pray the solution, not the problem. I was trained to see the good in all. I was trained in all of this, and yet I still slipped up. So I had to get back on the right track again. So my morning prayer was not just for me, but it was for everybody around me. Everyone that came into my energy vibration, my prayer was that they are blessed and healed by my presence. My prayer was that when someone sees me, they see the one who sent me. They see that light that Stephanie often talks about when she does her meditations. They see that. You see that. You see it in my smile. You see it in the way I talk. You see it in the way I respond. That's my prayer. I pray every day in that positive, affirmative way. And so I do my prayer work. I do my meditation work. sometimes, and you might find it difficult to quiet the monkey mind. I call it monkey mind because sometimes I can go 3 whole minutes in quietness. Sometimes I can go 5 whole minutes. So I found that could not be my deterrent. The cost was too great to give in to the chatter mind. I couldn't do it. So what I did with my mind was, okay, you're not going to be quiet, then I will read to you. So I would read stuff like Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pasture. He leadeth me beside the still water. He restoreth my soul. He leads me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, I fear no disease, I feel no lack, I fear no limitation. Thy rod and thy staff, God's love, God's peace, God's joy comforts me all the days of my life, and I dwell in the house of the Lord. I dwell in the presence of God, even with this condition. And so my mind could not argue with that because it's in Scripture. Scripture says it right there. So I would have my Bible, and I would read Psalm 23 over and over and over again. I would read it in the morning. I would read it at night. I would read it whenever I needed to, whenever I could, whenever I remembered. I had something ready at all times because I had a clear path to going backwards. What I needed was a clear path going forward. And what I needed to know was that I had it within me. I had enough reserve. I had enough God energy. I had enough faith. I had enough love to propel me over to the other side. And I stuck with it. Again, it was not a one and done. I kept up with my prayer and my meditation. Another thing I did was I had to look at my self-care and what it was costing me not to take care of myself. I could take care of everybody else, and I was doing that, or so I thought. I was taking care of everybody else, but not taking care of myself. I was not doing a good job. So I paid attention to my sleep habits. I paid attention to my exercise. I paid attention to everything. I paid attention to the foods that I ate. I paid attention to my whole body. I paid attention when someone asked me a question. And I said, oh, I'm fine. Or, oh, I'm not fine. I paid attention. So these are the type of things that we gotta connect with in order if we want to do this healing process. My affirmations were always positive, and they continue to be. I was taught that when you affirm something, you affirm it in the positive, in the present tense. And so I didn't say, I am going to be healed. Because when I say I'm going to be healed, I'm pushing it out into the future. I am healed now. I said the affirmation, and I allowed my body to catch up with the affirmations. So I am whole and well in body, mind, and spirit. I am affirmation ready at any time. Whatever comes up for me, I've got an affirmation for it. Sometimes I can just say, God's love fills my mind and my heart. God's peace fills my soul. That stops the negativity for me immediately. We got to do that. We got to do that because the cost of not doing these kinds of spiritual practices is the price that we pay for living a life of dis-ease. Some of the other stuff that I would do is like self-love. How am I loving myself? What am I doing to demonstrate for myself? If God loves me and I don't love myself, there's a problem. And there's a huge problem. So I wanted my love to match God's love. And that's the process. So these are the things that we got to continue to do. Another obstacle that I found for me was forgiveness or lack of forgiveness. I had stuff going on with there. family is enough to keep me busy for a whole week. So I had all of this stuff with my family, and it was interfering with my healing. So I had to forgive them, and I had to forgive myself. I forgave myself for judging myself, for harboring these thoughts that were interfering with my healing. I was driving down the street one day, and actually, I'm actually going through a breakup with one of my sisters. And so we were having this intense discussion, and let me tell you, she ticked me off. So I thought, well, this is going to be a final breakup with her. I'm done with her. This is a breakup. So I'm driving down the street and replaying it in my mind. So this voice said, what would happen if you just plucked that thought out of your mind and put it on the street? Because I was driving. What would happen? So I mentally plucked that thought out of my mind and threw it out just like that. It was amazing at the relief I felt, not having to carry, not letting her live in my head for the rest of the day and probably for the rest of the week. Another thing that I did was give back to the community. Give back in whatever way you can to get yourself unstuck. I donated blood. I volunteered my time at the church. I volunteered at any place I could. I volunteered my time. I donated my service, my talents. Another thing that I did, and I discovered this in my quest for healing, I discovered that I had mercury fillings in my mouth. And so I went and paid the money to get that mercury out of my mouth. You see, this is one of those hidden costs, one of those hidden traps that we think our prayers may not be working, or we think something might not be going the right way for us, and it could be something simple that just needs to be uprooted and taken care of and create the space for healing. Well, healing can't occur if there's a lot of foreign material in my body. So I had the mercury taken out of my body, out of my mouth. I did all of these things, and so this is just my process of healing. I am 25 years into the healing process, and I got to tell you, I am so much better, and I am loving the spiritual bank account that I have, that I can use. So when these negative thoughts come up, or whenever an inkling of pain, I remember I am in healing. So this pain is probably just a reminder, but I can't stop. So whatever is going on in your life, I invite you to think about the cost that you're paying. It's been said, and I've heard it many times, that you can't put a price tag on health. But I can tell you there's a huge price tag associated with dis-ease. The price tag is huge. And some of those costs, you may not be familiar with what they look like, but I can tell you, some of those costs could be fear. Fear wreaks havoc in our lives unless we check it. Fear can make you believe that you're making the right decision when you're probably not. If you make a decision based on fear versus based on faith, you might need to see someone to help you along the way, because it's not the best option. Unforgiveness, again, I had to do that unforgiveness. Anger. Anger is a huge robber of our energy. When those times when I've caught myself in that mode of anger, that mindset of anger, there is nothing going on healing. Everything, all signals are blocked, because the energy of anger, the energy of fear are so powerful that they have the potential to block our good. And if we're not careful, if we don't know this, we could find ourselves being victims. And I have no intention of ever becoming a victim again. Some of the other obstacles had to do with blame, denial, criticism of others, and it just goes on and on and on. There's a definition of insanity called, it says if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to keep getting the same results. And when I was thinking about my process, I ran across this. This is it's not really a poem, but it was written by Portia Nelson many years ago, and I heard Wayne Dyer talk about it in one of his books. And she was at this conference, and they had to write your life story in a few sentences, in 5 chapters. So she wrote the autobiography of my life, and she said, I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost and hopeless. It takes forever to find a way out. Chapter 2 of my life. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it's not my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. Chapter 3 of my life. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It's not my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4 of my life. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5 of my life. I walk down a different street. So that, my friend, is healing. And so another thing I wanted to share with you, I was at an award ceremony over this past week, and they were giving out, that was by the American Red Cross, and they were giving out hero awards. And there were, I think, 10 recipients of this hero award. And each one, as they got up to accept their award, time and time again, they said, I don't see myself as a hero. I see myself living my life. And as these heroic situations showed up, I was just living. And I just happened to be a part of a situation that the rest of the world considers the hero. But they're saying, I'm not a hero. It's the cost of living. This is what I do. Time and time, each one of those recipients, with the exception of one, they all said the same thing. I don't see myself as a hero. I see myself as living my life. Now, there was one award recipient that they awarded it post, how do you say it, post-hump? Yeah, that. And this award was presented to and some of you may remember this story. There was a young doctor that lost his life in a church shooting in our local community, where an armed gunman came into a place of worship with the intent to do a lot of harm. And this young doctor got in the way to protect the people in the church from getting hurt. And he got shot and he died. What's interesting is he had never been in this community before. It was said that he was not a church-going person. He had all of these, he had no connection with the community, no connection with the people. He took his mom to drop her off and decided to stay. And then the gunman comes in, bolts the door. It was not a pretty situation. But the doctor was the only person that lost their life in this event. And so when the recipient came up to accept the award on his behalf, it was just the most amazing speech that she gave. And she said, it could be looked at that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And she said, no, he was in the right place at the right time, doing exactly what he needed to do in his journey in life. And my takeaway from that is I will never, ever look at a situation as being in the wrong place at the right time, because what happens is when we claim this and know this, we shut out all of God's goodness and God's mercy. We're saying the wrong place at the wrong time, and I know better than God itself. And that's not a good thing. When we can proclaim, I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, you're saying God kind of made me defective. And I can't figure out. So I'm at the mercy of the wind. So I just go along with the breeze. So reconsider where you are. Reconsider when you are there. And reconsider why you are there. You don't have to know all the answers. Just reconsider it. Every time I go someplace, I affirm I am always at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. I always know what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. I know what to say and who to say it to and how to say it. And see, this protects you. It gives you that pathway. It creates a pathway for healing. It creates a pathway for living. So spiritual living is hard, but it doesn't have to be difficult. The cost of living sometimes may seem like it's hard, but it doesn't have to be difficult. We tell you every single day when you come in here, we tell you how you can heal your life. We give you the 5 principles of unity. We sing the song. We do it all. You know, I wonder, sometimes I had this thought, what would happen to this community if we put a sign outside that says, we heal people here? What do you think would happen if the sign that said, you know, people get healed when they come into this service? The room would be packed. And I say to you, we do heal people. It may not be the healing that you are used to. It may not be the quick healing, but healing is going on. Every time we come into this sanctuary, healing is going on. Every time we sing those songs, healing is going on. I just go into a whole different vibration when Bill's playing the piano, the keyboard. It just takes me someplace. And where healing takes place, my soul, my cells, they rejoice in the vibration of this amazing energy. And this is the cost that we pay for living. We pay the price. Whatever we do, whether it's breathing, we're paying the price. If you're wearing restrictive clothing, you can't breathe as well. So as you go about your day today, as you think about your journey, as you think about the cost, the cost that's required to actually live, as you think about what might I do to actually live instead of exist, as you think about what living really means to me, how can I just flow through the air with the greatest of ease? How can I just allow my soul to just dance with the rhythm of the universe? To me, that's living. So I just want to leave you with those thoughts for today. There is a cost. Everything has a price. It all does. And we have these huge spiritual bank accounts that's embedded within us. You know, Stephanie, the scripture that you read today, I am with you always. I will be with you. I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. That's the God that I serve. That is the Lord that I serve. That's the universal intelligence that I serve. So I say to you, you have what it takes to pay your way through this life experience. Bless you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Annie. While I was listening to your talk, I really was reminded of a spiritual principle I heard that really shook me. Happiness is not a destination. Happiness is a journey. And I went, Oh, man, that makes a lot of sense. All right. Let's sing a little bit about God, shall we? You guys know this is the Denise Rosier song. If you know it, feel free to sing it with me. If you don't, just listen and hear it. I am one, simple and plain, no superpowers, no famous name, but I stand tall, 'cause I believe something greater has come alive inside of me. And I have felt the stirring deep inside my soul. Deep in my soul. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I am one, but I'm not alone. When I'm with you, I am home. Side by side, we find the truth. When the Spirit in me meets the same in you. And I have felt this fire burning in my soul. Deep in my soul. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I will give love, I will speak peace, all because of the love that's got a hold of me. So wide open, so amazing, it takes my breath away when it occurs to me. In a world where so many feel lost. In a world where so many feel lost. In a world where so many feel lost, I know God. I know God.
Thank you so much, Tom. And thank you, Reverend Danny. That was just awesome, reminding us there is a cost of living. And she reminds us of the 5 basic principles that we have. Unity gives us to how to live. How easy, but the hard part, doing it. So let's look at our 5 basic principles. Number 1, God is all good and active in everything, everywhere. 2, I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. 3, I create my experiences by what I choose to think and what I feel and believe. And 4, through affirmative prayer and meditation, I connect with God and bring out the good in my life. And 5, I do and give my best by living the truth that I know. I make a difference. And here at Unity of Orange County, we do make a difference by practicing the principle of giving and receiving. So at this time, I'd like to invite the ushers to come up, and we are going to bless our donations, all that I give and all that I receive. Amen. Okay, they could pass. At this time, do we have any first-timers here today? We don't want to embarrass you or whatever. We just want to say, give you a blessing. Anybody? First time? No? Well, let's bless each other. Absolutely. We love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the Christ in you. Now we're all blessed and we're shiny. Let's sing.
Please rise. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, oh let it shine. And please join hands as we sing together the peace song and then the prayer for the protection. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. God. And all together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well.